a 40 years journey of love and service. On September 21st, 1982, Father Antonio Paganoni, Italian missionary, arrived to the Philippines to start the presence and mission of the Scalabrinian congregation in the Perla de Oriente. Father Paganoni and a few weeks later Father Giovanni Iacono found temporary accommodation with the Pastorelle sisters and the Carmelite fathers. Later on, Father Luiggi Sabbadin completed the team of the 3 pioneers who, following the missionary mandate, go into the world and proclaim the gospel to every creature, began the Scalabrinian apostolic service to the land and sea-based overseas Filipino workers. On May 1984, with a group of 9 young Filipino men, led by a team of Italian educators, the Scalabrinian Formation Program for New Missionaries officially took off in the Philippines, in the nowadays so-called Mission House. On June 13, 1984, Father Antonio Paganoni was appointed as Executive Secretary of the Episcopal Commission on Migration and Tourism.
The aim of the commission is to care for the migrants and families, to help bring the dignity and to care for the needs, not just of the overseas Filipino workers, but also the needs of the family here in the Philippines. We have programs for those who are working in the migrant ministry, such as migrant directors in the chaplains, and there is Exodus. But at the same time, there is also programs for the family left behind. And the aim of the commission is to establish migration commission in all the dioceses and archdioceses all over the Philippines. But that's not the only job of the commission. The commission is also in charge of the shrines and pilgrimages. And also one of the apostolates is international students, and of course the apostleship of the sea, or Stella Maris. The commission is also busy collaborating in looking after the victims of the human trafficking. We are also into the care of refugees and asylum seekers.
In September 1984, His Eminence Jaime Cardinal Sin entrusted the Stella Maris, then Apostleship of the Sea ministry, to the Scalabrinian Missionaries in the port of Manila. In 1985, the seminarians moved to the newly built Scalabrini Formation Center. In February 1987, as a response to the need to better understand the migration phenomenon, the Scalabrinian Migration Center of Studies, SMC, was established.
I believe SMC is the first center in Asia that's focused on migration issues. And in that regard, I think it's quite significant, because that means that SMC has been in the forefront of developing various initiatives to promote a better understanding of migration realities, specifically in the Asia-Pacific region. So among others, SMC conducted one of the first international conferences that's focused on the human rights of migrants. That's in the 1990s, and that's one of the international conferences that brought attention to the issue of promoting the rights of migrants in the Asia-Pacific region. It also produced a directory of migration-related NGOs that operated in the region at that time, and that also served as a platform for promoting the coordination of the work of NGOs, both those that are operating on the origin side as well as in the destination side. And that has become also part of the building blocks of transnational activism in the region. A regular publication of SMC is the Asian and Pacific Migration Journal. APMJ was launched in 1992, and so this year, 2022, we are in the 31st year of producing APMJ. APMJ is quite significant because it's the first journal focusing on migration in the Asia Pacific that is produced in the region itself. And up until now, there is no other journal that has that specific focus on Asia Pacific migration issues. We are very fortunate that in 2015, SMC was able to have a cooperation with Sage Publications. And so since 2015, APMJ has been produced by Sage Publications, which has been very helpful because that means that Sage is the one now that is responsible for the marketing and distribution of APMJ, which is very helpful. On this 40th anniversary of the presence of Scalabrinians in the Philippines, I think it's also good to reflect on SMC and its role in the congregation. I think as part of the Scalabrini Centers for Migration Studies, which have a presence in different regions, I think our mission as a whole, the mission of the Scalabrini Centers for Migration Studies is really to promote a better understanding of migration realities. And what does that mean? When we have a better understanding of what causes migration, when we have a better understanding of the consequences of migration for societies, for the societies of origin, societies of destination, and more importantly, on the lives of migrants and their families, then we are also in a better position to inform policymaking. We're also in a better position to inform our advocacies and actions and follow the mantra of see, judge, and act. Research, of course, is very important, but I think in the context of the Scalabrinian mission, I think my understanding of doing research in the Scalabrinian Migration Center is that it is doing research with a purpose, doing research with a mission, and that is understanding migration realities, but also going beyond that, and that is understanding these realities so that migrants and their families, their rights, their dignity are promoted and protected.
As the formation program for new Scalabrinian missionaries continued developing, a new house was built. It was named Scalabrini Theological House of Studies and was inaugurated on June 1, 1992. Ever since, it has welcomed young Scalabrinian students from all around the world. On June 1, 1993, another milestone for the Scalabrinian presence in the Philippines was set down. The Scalabrini Center for People on the Move, SCPM, a shelter and service center, opened its doors to serve and assist overseas workers, seafarers, fishers, and refugees.
When the first missionaries came to the Philippines, we think they had a clear vision. And the clear vision included the ministry to the overseas Filipino workers, then called migrants. Nowadays, there are 10 million Filipinos overseas. 9.5 are land-based. The other side, the fathers also kept in mind that nowadays there are 500,000 of seafarers and a number of refugees. So we came to the Philippines with migrants, seafarers, refugees and their respective families, and now we add fishers in their hearts. From there on, we began offering a few services to these categories of people. So we began with Stella Maris. Then came the Scalabrini Center for People on the Move. Basically, these two institutions, they cater for these categories of people within its mandate. So what do we do in order to be faithful to the initial vision of the fathers and, of course, of our congregation and our province. Number one, we offer care, pastoral care, and the most expressive way is our shelter. Today we house about 300 people a day. The second big area that we provide information, orientation when it comes to job placement. I think it is our duty to make sure they are duly deployed. The third one, which is very big, is what we call lobbying and advocacy. Migrants, seafarers and fishers deserve a better legislation and for sure better protection. So the Scalabrinians are involved in that policy making. And the last but not the least, we offer pastoral spiritual care, be it on a daily basis, be it on a personal basis, or be it through the practices that we find in the Philippines or anywhere in the world as Catholic. In providing these services to the migrants, seafarers, refugees and fishers and their respective families, I think we Scalabrinians in the Philippines are faithful to the initial vision of our pioneers.
In 1997, the Scalabrinians extended their presence in the Philippines through the opening of a new formation house in Cebu. It became the permanent seat of the novitiate. In 2010, a new house aimed to welcome the postulants coming from Vietnam, Indonesia, the Philippines, and other countries was added to the compound. Full of joy for the news about the canonization of their founder on October 9, 2022, the Scalabrinians celebrate with gratitude and renewed missionary enthusiasm their presence in the Philippines. Looking ahead with hope, they vow to continue serving the migrants, refugees, and seafarers with the apostolic seal of blessed, soon-to-be Saint John Baptist Scalabrini.
Father, Father, to the migrants and seafarers, Father, Father of the people on the move, Father.